for the introduction. So today I'm going to talk about some of the research I've been doing in the past and ongoing research on recommender systems. So I'm going to give you a very high-level overview of what I'm doing. So to get started, we all live in a very crowded place, and especially when it comes to online shopping, you will see a lot of products available to you, like thousands of books, thousands of movies to choose from, and we get overloaded. And then especially we have limited time, we can only consume a small set of items available to us. So now we need help. We need some tools to help us to find what items, what products are relevant to us, relevant to our interests. So there are a lot of technologies available out there to help us. So Google, search engines. But to use search engines to find the items, you need to know exactly what you are looking for, right? So if you don't know what you're looking for, if you just want to explore, then search engine will not be very useful. Or you can turn to social media to try to get suggestions from your friends. But that assumption is you have to have a lot of friends, and your friends has to share some common interest with you. But if you don't have enough friends, or your friends you have a unique taste on something, then the friends will not be very helpful either. And then you can also turn to experts to seek advice. But then, first of all, the experts' opinions may not scale very well, cannot serve everybody. And on the other hand, the experts' opinion are the same to everybody. So they still cannot maybe understand your unique taste. So here, the solution to this is recommender systems. So recommender system is some program online that try to understand your preference based on what you searched for, what you purchased in the past, and also based on other people who have similar interests to you, what they liked in the past. And then based on their understanding of your interests and preference, then recommender system can come up with some recommended products, some good recommendations to you. And to me, I've looked at various issues with recommender system, and broadly speaking, my research can be divided into three main research topics. So one is more technical. I focus on the performance and the evaluation of recommendations. And I also look at human-computer interactions, how recommender system affect people's decision making. And the third one is I look at like the entire mechanism, what is the dynamic in the longitudinal way. So I will dive into each of them and kind of briefly explain. So basically, in the recommender system, we have user, we have the system, and the system will try to match item to the user and make some recommendations. And my first performance evaluation focuses mostly on the technology itself, on the system itself. So one key issue with recommendation is how do we measure that? How do we evaluate if it's a good recommendation or a bad recommendation? So this is my Netflix recommended movie to me on my Facebook account, Braveheart. But how do we know if it's a good recommendation or not, right? So one very commonly used evaluation metric is accuracy. So just measured how precisely the recommendation engine predicted the ratings that is similar to what you would really like this movie. Then the accuracy itself is not enough. So a lot of times, maybe some accurate predictions are not very new to me. It does not give me additional information. So for Sheldon, who is a sci-fi fan, if you recommend some sci-fi movie to him, it's very accurate, but it's not very surprising or very diverse, right? So in my research, I look at different ways to evaluate recommendations. So I developed some new evaluation metrics, and then I also evaluated different recommendation algorithms, how they perform on this new metric. And also I found that some of those very popular recommendation algorithms, in terms of stability performance, they are not very well. So then as a next step, I kind of developed some meta algorithm to help improve some of the current technology. So to improve the technology, make better recommendations. So, and then my second research interest topic would be the human-computer interaction. So recommender system does not just involve a system, it also has the human factors. And this is a feedback loop that human provide feedback to the system, and system further improve their technology and make better recommendations to the users. So I look at how the recommendations that are displayed to the users affect their decision making. So I look at specifically this anchoring effect. So anchoring is basically we all have the tendency to rely on some given piece of information when we make our decision. So we found that basically the recommendations can bias our preference. So if I give you a high recommendation on some product, then you will actually like that product much better, and you will be willing to pay higher price for that product. And then, so that's anchoring bias that is introduced to the consumers, and then this will also be, in terms of rating, it will be submitted back to the system. So, and then another research project that I look at is how can we correct such bias? How can we de-bias the ratings? And then I look at different ways to do this, and from how we can better educate our customers so they know this possible anchoring bias so that they can avoid such bias, or we can have some algorithmic approach, try to prevent this, try to systematically remove such bias from some existing data set, or we can also have kind of better design the system so that we can prevent such bias from happening at the very beginning when we collect the data. And my last main area in recommender system is to understand the dynamics, longitudinal dynamics. So the goal is I want to look at how the interactions between human and computer affect the longitudinal system performance, the product sale diversity, and also the consumer's consumption strategy or consumption relevance over time. So this is ongoing research, and I've looked at like the different ways to evaluate such, to capture such dynamics. So from system, I look at the performance, like accuracy, diversity. From products, I look at the sales diversity, how concentrated the product sales would be if we have recommendations. And I also look at the consumers, like for consumers, how relevant the recommendations would be if they continue to rely on the system. So that's a summary of my research on recommender systems.